Hello and welcome to the Next 100 Days podcast. My name is Graham Arrowsmith.
And my name's Kevin Appleby. So today, Graham, we're going to talk about babies.
Do you know, it's a long time since you and I had babies, but we've both got grandchildren now. And this person's been in business for, believe it or not, and you won't be able to tell, if you're watching YouTube, you'll not get this at all. 32 years in business. So she obviously started when she was a teenager.
That's 7.
But basically,
you're very kind.
Yeah, but today we have Debbie Homer Davis, and Debbie's run a business in Kent, and I don't think we've had that many people from Kent over in our time, Kevin, because they're a bit strange. Their eyes are a little bit too close together, but not Debbie's. She's perfectly formed. Debbie, welcome to the Next 100 Days podcast.
Oh, thank you both for having me.
Debbie, how did you become the baby lady?
Well, so I originally I worked in payroll and finance, and I lost my job twice in 18 months. I was made redundant twice, and I didn't like that. I didn't like someone else having control of my future. And I really, my dad has always been in business, so I think the sort of running your own business is pretty much in my blood. I didn't want to do what he did. I was actually determined that I needed to set out my own ideas, but I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I had met my now husband, who lived in Kent. I lived in Sussex at the time. And we'd been doing this commute backwards and forwards for, I don't know how long, quite a while. And at one point, it was obvious if we were going to take it any further, one of us was going to have to move. I got made redundant and we had a chat and we were like, well, okay, fine, I'll move there, but I really want to set up my own business. And he said, fair enough, I will support that. What do you want to do? And there was a series of discussions, but basically what I did was I set up a nappy delivery service. Back in the day, you probably won't remember, but nappies were huge, 32 years ago, really heavy, really bulky, and very, very expensive in the supermarkets. So there were people like me all over the country who basically would supply these to people to their home. So I had a little van, it's all sign written with BabyLady on it. And I went round to people's homes and delivered all these things. And it was going really well. We were ahead of projected forecasts. I was doing really well in the first 9 months. And then the bottom dropped out of the nappy market because the supermarkets were very concerned about how much turnover they were losing, not just nappies, but all the sundry items. So they literally slashed the prices overnight by between a third and half. Wow. And there was no profit in it. So people like myself were like, and there was lots of us, small businesses around the country doing the same sort of thing. We had to do something else. We couldn't survive doing what we were doing. And a lot of my customers had said to me, why don't you open a baby shop? So I was like, okay, fair enough. So that's what I did. And I had no babies. I had no experience. And it was all very much learn on the hoof.
And this is about 30 years ago.
32 years ago, yeah.
Well, yeah, okay. So basically, which is coincides with Kevin and my children. They're roughly around that age. So basically, I kind of remember the heaviness. They get heavier, of course, once they're used. They're quite
the children
heavy
of the nappies.
I don't know. Well, both, I suppose. But no, it was. I couldn't recall that kind of solution. The baby deliveries sort of thing.
I don't recall it either. I just remember going and, I remember Benjamin coming along. That'd be 1988. Benjamin was born, and he was allergic to disposable nappies, so he had to go and get the old-fashioned terry towel ones.
Yeah. And I'm actually a really, really big fan of reusable nappies, and I used them on our children. We didn't use disposables at all. I sort of come full circle. I think I didn't really know that much about disposables at the time. It was a business, and now in the store. We are very big with cloth nappies, and it's actually made a comeback now, not just for people who are allergic, but in terms of environmental issues. In Kent, 4% of the total waste, that's not just domestic waste, that is total waste in Kent, is disposable nappies, which of course are not disposable because they don't recycle, they don't break down. So there's a big trend now going back to cloth nappies and washable nappies. So you were way ahead of the curve there.
So where do all these nappies get stored then in Kent? Which town is it? Is it Ashford? I mean, do they all go there and stay? And you know, is that what?
I had a good friend at university, Graham, who came from Kent, and Attilio always used to say, "Well, Kent is the Garden of England, but I live in Dartford, which is the compost heap."
Yeah, well, I mean, it might have been Dartford then. I don't know. I agree with you. The idea of that's one thing about the youth of today is that they do have some really good beliefs now about, I mean, we probably were guilty at the time of, no, we just want something to get rid of the things that babies produce. We weren't thinking about the environment. So we wrong. Presumably they're all looking back at us and thinking, you horrible people.
I think it's about information. I think a lot of this is about information. It's something we're really passionate about. I'm really passionate about, and my whole business is based on providing information so that people can make informed choices. And at the time, I didn't know about these issues, and it was really only when I was pregnant with my eldest son that I started to do more research and found out about the chemicals that they put in disposable nappies and what these chemicals could potentially do. And I was like, actually, I'm not very keen on that. So it is about information. And I think, unfortunately, some of this information is quite hard to get hold of, particularly when you're dealing with multi-billion-pound companies who perhaps don't really want to advertise this.
No, absolutely. And of course, back in the 80s, we weren't worried about the climate in any way because it was going to be another ice age. Then they figured out that, no, it's going to get a bit warmer. I think that's a better sell. But we are where we are at the moment. But I shouldn't get myself started on that. So effectively, but you've now created this huge place in Canterbury, lovely place, by the way. And people travel from a long way away just to come to see you and your staff. That makes you and your staff very, very talented.
Well, I like to think so. They are really, I'm very, very fortunate. I do have an amazing team. We are actually recruiting at the moment. So anyone listening to this podcast, anyone who wants to work in our industry, it's a great,
might be 3
great
years
industry.
From now. They might be listening 3 years from now. And you'll be saying, I don't want any more. We don't want any more.
To be fair, good people are really hard to find. And I think that's what sets us apart, is that our staff really care about what they do. It's not a job. It's almost a lifestyle choice. It's a passion. It's a vocation rather than, we just work in retail, we come to work. It's very different because they really care about the consumer. We care about providing information. We care about finding the right solution. And we're very, very good at finding solutions to quite difficult problems. Cars with very difficult car seat fitting issues, people with children that don't fit into necessarily the standard normal box in terms of what they need. That is where we excel. And also cutting through the stress. Now, buying for a baby is so stressful. There's so much information out there. How on earth do you break that information down and decide what's right for you?
Do you have both genders? Do you basically have male staff as well as female staff?
Yeah.
And because they're listening to this, which are the best? Is it the lads who are better, or is it the girls?
They're all brilliant.
Oh,
They're all brilliant. All my team are brilliant.
Politician, I love
Well,
it.
they are. But the thing is, everyone brings something to the team, and that's what's so great about it.
Yeah. So, Debbie, and retail staff are hard to get.
Yes.
How do you get a team like yours? That's
well,
what's the magic dust that's managing to achieve that?
I don't know about magic dust. I think perseverance. I like to think over the years, I consider that I get sort of lent people. They don't stay forever. They come and we're lucky enough to have them for a while, and then they fly off to do other things and go on to maybe bigger projects. So we like to think that we will take people where we see potential, and probably I think it's fair to say that we often take people who haven't reached their full potential, that we see potential and we want to encourage that and help develop them as individuals.
Oh, I absolutely 100% behind that, and I've done that several times, and it's frustrating at times, but actually you feel that you've made a big difference.
Yeah, definitely. And what I'm really fortunate in that quite a few of the people who've come through the business over the years, we're still in contact with, and I'm still friends with, and we still message, and they'll still comment on our posts. And, we consider them to be part of the BabyLady family.
And so you've hired these people, you have that kind of open mind about, their age maybe and their experience. It's this passion that you're looking for. How do you get them up the curve when it comes? Because there's, like you said, that there's car seats which are technical now, and I don't know if you ever struggled. I'm sure you have, but we bought a car seat for our granddaughter, and it's like, it's a Krypton factor.
So you need to have a look at our YouTube channel. Let's show you how to do it.
Oh, right, okay, fair enough. But it's like the swear words every time you put it in, But anyway, I
had exactly that a couple of weeks ago, Graham. But eldest grandson's grown out of his car to the baby car seat, so we've got this booster cushion now. It's got a back to it as well, and fits in the Isofix. Got it out of its box, and there were no instructions. So there's
perfect for me. I would read them anyway.
Previous seat just fitted in with a seatbelt. Wasn't Isofix because it's in and out of our car, so I didn't want to be bothered with Isofix. But the new one was Isofix. How does this work?
Well, it's the idea with Isofix is it's designed so that you can't fit the car seat wrong. It's a standard fitting design so that all cars with Isofix generally should fit seats with Isofix attachments. That isn't quite as simple because there are some exceptions. So they're all like everything. But the idea is that it prevents or helps to prevent misfitting. Which is a really common problem with car seat fitting. I personally feel that no car seats should ever be sold unless they've been fitted by a store and a trained fitter, because you are potentially putting your child, every time your child goes in your car, or your grandchild or your child, it is a risk because cars are moving objects, and obviously it's not your driving, but you never know who you're going to meet on the road. But that's part of the reason why we created our YouTube channel. All of our car seats have, when we supply them, we've produced QR codes as well, so that if people get stuck, we give them a QR code, they can scan that and go straight to our video, where we actually go to my car. We use my car most of the time to do demonstration videos to show people in a real car how to fit things. And that's all on our BabyLady YouTube channel.
Well, you've mentioned that, and we will put links to this YouTube channel, and it's called BabyLady, yeah?
BabyLady UK.
BabyLady UK. So that, people will be on that already, but just keep listening, because basically there's more to come on this podcast. But basically, then you used YouTube as a method of not actually having stores all over the southeast. You've still got the one store. But basically, YouTube is almost like the magnet to bring people who might not be able to make it from Sussex over to Kent, but really like what you're doing. Or maybe, do you have people up in Scotland who are interested in you as well? Are they all over the country?
And internationally as well.
Oh, right. Okay. So you sell them British products, or just any products that you lay your hands on?
So unfortunately, in the nursery industry, there is very, very little made in Britain now, which is a real tragedy. Don't get me on that. I feel really
you on that. So you don't like that, do you?
I think it's a tragedy that we can't make anything in this country anymore. I think, we've got unemployment issues. We've got plenty of land. We've got resources. I think it's just a tragedy, and I think that we'd be able to sell them all over the world if we made them. And we stood out and said these are British made. However, we don't. Yeah. So all of our products are generally, particularly our wheel goods, are sourced outside the UK. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff made in China, but we try to source things that are made in Europe. I'm really, really fond of things that are made in Europe. We have products made in Sweden, we have products made in Italy, we have products made in Portugal, and I've been lucky enough to go and visit some of the suppliers and see their beautiful, beautiful factories, and the care and the love and the passion. Some of these are family owned companies. They're not venture capital companies. They're companies with a real vested interest in what they produce, and making sure that it's the right product and not just safe, but a beautiful product to own and have.
They must treat you as like royalty going across from the UK and being BabyLady. I mean, they must. I mean, you'll be quite a good client for them, but more to the point that you're very, very influential. I mean, first of all, you're on the next 100 days, which makes it for you. But basically, seriously, these, you know, if you've got a Portuguese factory and Debbie comes across, they're going to treat you like royalty, aren't they?
They're really lovely to us. We get on really well with them, and excuse me, they are very kind.
Yeah.
I don't know that I get treated like royalty. That's perhaps, but I think it's about relationships, isn't it? People buy from people they like, know, and trust. And I like these people. I like the ethos behind the way they run their businesses and the products that they produce. And as a result, we like to feature them on our shop floor. They support us in other ways. So it's a sort of win-win, isn't it? I think the products that are produced in China are slightly different. But again, we have really good relationships with some of our suppliers that do make things in China and get a lot of support from them as well. So I think we're really fortunate. I think we're in a bit of a niche position. And yes, we're not the biggest retailer in the country, but we love what we do.
That makes such a difference, Kevin.
Such a difference. Funny that if I'm thinking I need something for grandchildren, like a car seat or something like that, a second buggy, whatever, my first go-to place is usually I'll search on Amazon. So how do you compete, Debbie, against the sort of biggest retailer in the world in terms of Amazon?
Well, Amazon doesn't have the variety of choice that we have. It's a much more narrow choice. And also, how do you know if you buy on Amazon that you're buying the right thing? How do you know that it's going to be the right product for you? How do you narrow that choice? I mean, yes, you can just put into Amazon baby car seat, but how do you know it's what you want, it's the right product? And I think it's about information. It comes back to this same thing about information, helping people choose, cutting down on the time that they spend as well. Because if you do your own research and you trawl through websites, you watch Instagram, you watch videos, you watch all these influencers and things like that. Where on earth, how do you get all this time to do this? Whereas if you come to a store like us, we can cut through that because of our knowledge and experience. We can actually say to you, okay, fine, with your lifestyle, with this situation, these are the products that we think are going to work for you. And that's what we do. And I think we do that really, really well.
You, friend of the show, and he's been on before, Michael Heppel, who I know you know, he gave you a testimonial earlier this year, as it happens, and he needs to spell check it, by the way, but that's another story. But he said Debbie is the queen of customer care. What do you think he meant?
I think that for us, it's never been just about selling a product. It's always about the journey. I think that we are really passionate about making sure that the customer has a brilliant experience. Talking of Michael, I was lucky enough. I met him. I met him. I got in contact with him a long time ago, and I was lucky enough to be included in his book, 5-Star Service. And when he rewrote it, a group of us were helping with some information. And that's sort of how we got chatting about customer service, because I think that we, as a small business, we can react to things very differently. We're not corporate. We're not like, this is the rule, this is what we must do. I think that empathy is very much at the front of what we do. And we understand that customers need their products. They need them to work. If they've got a problem, it's up to us to sort it out. So you'll never have a situation when someone buys from us that they have to send an email and they don't get a reply for a week, or they're chasing it, or they spend an hour on the phone on hold, or 2 hours on the phone on hold. So that's very different. We are very proactive, and things like, if a customer has a problem, we have an engineer that's in store once a week that can fix many things. We also have loan products, so we won't leave a customer without a pram. We're just different. The way that we do things is just different. And if we were huge, I think we would really struggle to do that. So
yeah. Is it about you? First of all, that's all brilliant, because I mean, more power to you. I wish every industry had a you in it. But if is it about your human connection, your deep understanding? I mean, 32 years, you're bound to have picked up a few things, but the fact is, you understand. It's not so much babies, which you'll understand, but basically babies' parents and grandparents and other people. So basically, you've got a real deep understanding, and you know what peeves them, and you also know what delights them. So it's not exactly rocket science, is it? I mean, you choose one over the other.
It isn't rocket science, but it's also really hard to do, and it's really hard to do well. And you need people, that buy into your passion and your ethos. And that's going back to the whole recruitment thing. That's where it becomes difficult, trying to find people that will put themselves out to make sure that the customer gets that service, and that they will make sure, if you say you're going to call a customer back, you call them back. You know, no matter what else is happening, if you promise that, you don't go home without doing it. And that's, I think, which can be a challenge definitely now, to find people who mirror that, I suppose.
Yeah, I can see, Debbie, how that customer service really works with the shop, with people physically present in the shop.
Yeah.
How does that translate into the online business? It's not quite so easy to have the engineer sort things out or give the loan product.
No, it's not. It's much harder online, and that's why we had a choice, probably, I suppose, 25 years ago, that we could have gone in the direction of taking the business much bigger and become a much bigger online player. But I have no satisfaction in putting a label on a box. I don't do this for the money. I do it because I love it. You know, I am fortunate that I can do a job that I love, and it is very, very different. But having said that, you can still do a lot more than the average online. So, for example, even our online customers can speak to us on the end of a phone. There are real people. There is no hold. You phone. We have 2 phone lines, although one of them isn't working this week. BT, thanks. I'm still waiting for that to be fixed.
There's a supplier that could learn an awful lot about customer service.
Yeah, I wouldn't touch them with a telephone pole. I really wouldn't.
It's really hard though with telephone providers. But so we have phone lines, we have mobiles, we have WhatsApp, we have Instagram, we have people can contact us by loads and loads of different methods. We have people monitoring our messages, particularly on Instagram and Facebook, most evenings up until 9:30. So we've got people monitoring and replying and answering. If someone has a problem, there are lots of different ways we can solve them. For example, WhatsApp's been absolutely fantastic, to be fair, for us. So say someone has a problem, they're not local to us, they'll send us a video of what the problem is. We can help diagnose it from a distance. If necessary, we can supply spare parts, which we can send to them. We can also send them a video of how to fix it. So part of our YouTube channel, we have a really quite a growing section there on how to. It's called How To. And every time a customer contacts us with a problem, so they've got this problem, that problem, if we think that it's relevant, and potentially if one customer's had a problem, another one's going to have one at some point, we record a little video and we add it to our YouTube collection, so that is there for posterity. And we have thousands of people watch some of the, hundreds of thousands on some of these videos, and they may not be our customers. So we're helping even more than our customers. And obviously, you know, you can do things remotely in a different way now. So yes, it's not the same as coming into store, but I think we can still do it well.
I'm just amazed that this YouTube channel is so large. You're attracting, I mean, the number of babies I should know this off the top of my head, but basically, if I understand it right, there's about somewhere between 600,000 and 800,000 new babies a year, something of that order. And so basically you've got that number, but if you've got hundreds of thousands of people tuning into yours, that's a significant proportion of baby families.
Yeah, and I think our YouTube channel was around before COVID, but COVID really propelled it to another level. And actually, it's interesting because we talked about Michael earlier, but I did have a YouTube, but I was really quite, being in front of a camera, being able to talk to camera is not something that I ever thought I would potentially be doing. I love business. I love the, buying and selling and helping people. It's what I do, but I never really planned to be on camera. I was just the only one that would do it. And so you just have to practice. And he was like, no, you just need to do it. Just record it. And we did, as part of Team 17, we had challenges during lockdown. And that sort of really propelled me, because we were still working in the store, but we couldn't see customers. But they still needed demonstrations, particularly with car seat fitting. They were still using car seats. They needed to know how to do it. And that's really where the YouTube channel grew quite significantly. And we did lives as well. We did live broadcasts using streaming channels, all sorts of things that I never thought I was going to learn at my age. But,
yeah, no, I'm
still learning.
Kevin's so delighted that we've got AI coming along where he can replace himself with an avatar.
Oh, okay.
And I'm not even sure if today is the launch day, because just not sure whether it is actually Kevin or an AI version of him.
Oh, I tried creating an AI version of me for an image for a newsletter. Yes, it was a total disaster, Graham. Don't talk to me about AI and graphics.
I just can't wait for you to actually get yourself a new avatar, an AI avatar. That should be fun. We should record one with our respective avatars. That would be fun. But you obviously or put it this way, the camera likes you.
I think that I've got more comfortable in front of the camera. I think that it wasn't something that it just didn't just happen. But it's like practice, isn't it? When you learn to do anything, you learn to drive a car, you learn to cook, practice. And that's really what it comes down to. I'm not saying that it always goes right. And some of our outtakes are really funny. But when you know that it's helping someone, when you know that actually what you're doing, it's not really about me or the team, it's about us helping other people. So
have you published your outtakes?
We have done some. We haven't done one recently, but the funniest one, we did a live during COVID. And obviously with a live, you can't stop the recording. And I was doing a demonstration on this one pram, and the wheel hadn't been put on properly, and it literally rolled across the screen. It literally rolled, and it wheeled itself like this, just wheeled and wheeled. And it was just hilarious. And you just have to carry on, because you can't suddenly say in a live, oh, I'm sorry, I can't do this anymore. That was quite funny.
But isn't that sort of thing something about being authentic?
Yeah, I think, and actually during COVID, there was one other company really a lot bigger than us, who have since aren't trading now, but lots of other people are now getting in on the bandwagon of the YouTubes, of the videos and things like that we were in its infancy. But I think that what sets us apart, and some of them are very professional, they're done in a studio, they have lights, and they have obviously probably proper editing and everything else. Ours are very authentic. So what you get with us and our following is so much so that it is real. Ours are real. We don't always give 4.5 out of 5 to everything we review. It's just not like that. No. You will get an honest review and an honest answer, because that's what the consumer needs, and they need to know the pros and cons. And but now the challenge is finding the time. Now we're back in the store, so we have to try and allocate little pockets of time to do these things.
Debbie, we're the Next 100 Days podcast. We've ended up talking a huge amount about 5-star customer service. So I'm sure listeners are thinking, oh, I need that. What are the 3 things you'd recommend people to do in the next 100 days to sort customer service out?
That's such a hard question. I think that's really, really hard. I think you really need your staff to buy in to your 5-star service plan. If your staff are on board, then you're not going to achieve it, because you can't be there 24/7 to monitor every customer, every phone call, everything. I do think a lot of this, we could go back into schooling and teaching there. I think schooling has become so like, we must get this exam, we must tick this box, we must do this thing. And there's lots of things that I would like to see taught in schools, not just customer service, but lots of other things that I think are life skills that maybe perhaps are missing. And I think that if you can educate people from an early age into customer service levels. It never leaves them. We've got the most tremendous chap that works for us who started when he was 16 as one of our as a junior, and I think it's fair to say he was really nervous. And do you know what? He is absolutely terrific in terms of customer service now. But it's a training process.
So it didn't take you long, Debbie, to decide that men are actually better than women.
I didn't say that. I just
said that's just what you've said. It's on tape. It's on tape. So
well, I've just taken on a young lady this week, and I see the same potential in her. So
all right, okay, fair enough then. No. Well, she's so good at wriggling out of her statements. Have you noticed this, Kevin?
Oh well.
So
years of practice.
The answer to the next 100 days is it's all about people.
Yeah, it definitely is about people.
The right people, look for people with potential.
Yeah.
And lay the standards down early of what good looks like.
Yeah, and also I think learning is really, really important to me. And I like to encourage my team to keep learning too. I think that it's one of the really positive things that I've taken out of COVID is that I think at the point we went in, maybe I wasn't pushing myself to learn as much. I think you get to a stage where you sort of do what you do and you go through the motions, and maybe you don't push yourself to learn more. And if I could say, one other thing, particularly to maybe people who aren't the youngest people, is to just keep pushing yourself to keep learning, because it's amazing if you push yourself what you can do.
Yeah, very much. Yeah. I recently did an online summit, and the learning was just overwhelming, and I did feel overwhelmed quite a lot of the time. But actually, at the point of actually putting it on, I was thinking, "Wow, well done!" You know, and there's nobody else to sort of pat me on the back apart from my wife, but she's usually in the face. But genuinely, it was one of those things that I was really proud of, and because it was just about learning. It wasn't particularly difficult to do. It was challenging, but basically it was all the little bits that I had to ask Kevin loads of questions, because he's far more technical than me, and as you already know, he's AI. So actually, he's quite clever when it comes to these sorts of things.
Well, this is another great challenge for folk of our generation, Graham. AI and getting our heads around it.
Yeah.
This is going to be as big as the introduction of the PC to the workplace when we started work.
But I think Debbie's got the right answer, though, because it's unlikely ever to sort of supplant really, really good, authentic human connection. When you cannot tell the difference, maybe that's going to be a challenge. But, do we really think that's going to happen anytime soon? I mean, am I a Luddite on that question? I just don't know. But it seems to me that the quirkiness that we've got on this podcast compared to others, for instance, might be one of the things that perhaps attracts people to us. But when it comes to your customer service, the particular way in which your people deal with people, it's going to be really difficult to sort of supplant that with a robot with a face that looks like Kevin's.
I think that real people's jobs, real people facing, customer facing, will be very hard to replace with AI. But I think AI will definitely replace a lot of back end jobs, a lot of writing things, and it's already there. We've already started using it in certain places, and I need to learn a huge amount more about it. It can do a lot more than perhaps we've even had the chance to experiment with. So it's not, we're not going to stop it. It's there. No. But you can't interact with another human being in the same way. It's a people thing. I just love people. I love sharing their journey. I love being with them at one of the most exciting times in their lives. So, and I like learning about people. It's one of the things I love about meeting new people, learning about them. And you can't do that with AI. No,
you can't. There's a very special moment around babies. My daughter-in-law takes photographs of babies. That's part of her job. She's left. She was something in a school, and she's now had a second child, and then she's now going to be full-time on a baby photography things. But the way that she does it creates, I don't know, lasting memories. But only somebody with real talent and passion for that can actually create that. I'm with you. it's going to be very difficult to stop the onslaught of AI. I think, like Elon Musk, it should be and must be regulated. And because of the unfettered use of it is going to lead to things that none of us want. That it will be our grandchildren's age that are going to come a cropper. So it's our job to make sure that they're protected physically as well as mentally from these things.
The future for future generations, it is our, it is really important that we make a decision that's going to protect everyone. Yeah, I agree with you.
Yeah. Well, and for me, you're right at the beginning. So you're seeing all these people in this wonderful time of life, and it must give you joy almost every day.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Does it make you broody? Does it make you broody?
No. No. I was an old. My husband and I, we are old parents. Right. And definitely doesn't make me broody, and definitely doesn't make me want grandchildren yet. My children aren't that old. But it's just a joy to be able to share in people's journeys, and people's journeys are also different. And some people, what they go through is really humbling. It's really humbling. And to be able to help them, we have people who are adopting, who've been through so much trauma to get where they're at in other ways. And I just think I'm so privileged to have this amazing job that I still love. And I've always said the day that I stop loving it is the day that I need to stop doing it.
Well, Kevin, you picked a really good one because you were Kevin's pick. I mean, I said no, but he insisted. But okay. No, I didn't say no. I never say no to guests. Well, not to their face, unlike you. But basically, how you come across to me and to everybody listening to this, is you have this passion, and Kevin said the word authentic. You're authentic. You clearly love what you're doing. I mean, you're. Like you said, you've not got grandchildren, but you've got children, and effectively, if you cast yourself forward another, say, 5-10 years, what would you like to have achieved by that point?
The next 5-10 years, I love what I do. My dad worked till he was in his 80s, and he's just my icon. He's such an amazing man. It kept him active, mentally active. Yeah. He had brilliant team around him, which really helped as well. So, I mean, I can't see me giving up. I'm 57 now.
Wow.
I love it. So, all the time I love it. I want a bigger store. That's what we really, really need now, is a bigger store. But there are massive challenges in the Southeast in finding places. So maybe
commercial properties probably being slightly more available. Or is it just challenging for you to do that?
It's challenging with the numbers. So the biggest problem with nursery is that actually the margins in nursery are so bad compared to any other industry, compared to furniture, even compared to baby clothing. The actual hardware stuff, the margins are really poor, which is why a lot of the big companies, if you look at all big companies, they've come out of nursery because there just isn't. I don't mean this to be a sob story, because it's not. I love what I do, but in terms of commercial making sense, it's extremely hard to make it work because of the margin problem. So then to go into big premises with huge overheads, and particularly business rates that are huge as well, and the Southeast is very expensive. But where there's a will, there's a way. We'll see. And never rule anything out.
There is lots of people, lots of money in the Southeast. So basically there is an opportunity there. But I do understand the challenge. One of the thoughts in my mind was that you've said it all the way through, is that A, you've got a huge amount of videos. B, you've got a lot of information, and your staff have a lot of information, and you've got Q&As or questions and answers, probably thousands of them, possibly more than anyone else, possibly, or at least as many.
Possibly. We've got quite a lot. I think people are playing catch up now. They've seen what we've done. They've seen that it's successful. So other companies are definitely getting into that. Yeah. We'll see. It doesn't. We do what we do because we enjoy it and we think it's a benefit. And what we definitely need now is a bigger store. We need more room to do more production. And if the right opportunity becomes available, then we'll take that opportunity.
What about actually creating more value per client? So in other words, let's just say you were able to take this information together, and the sort of, it's almost like becoming what can we call you? The baby lady. Let's call you the baby lady, because I mean that's probably one of the things that you haven't thought about. But you literally are the if you like, the pinnacle when it comes to babies. So you have all this knowledge that you can impart that potentially is worth paying for, particularly with certain, not everyone, but with certain people, where you can actually provide added value beyond anything else you do. It's just basically information.
Well, yes and no. I mean, that's true. But I think that a lot of people don't really want to pay for that information. I think that I think they come into store and value it when they come to us, and also when they contact us via other mediums. I think hopefully they value it. Not everybody does. And that will always be the case in anything.
Yeah.
Some people value what you do and other people don't.
Yeah. The number of people who buy books on how to rear children, for instance, it just, for me, it potentially opens up an area for you to investigate. I mean, many years ago, I used to work for Lego, and one of the things we had is the Duplo range. You might even carry it, but the Duplo range. Yeah. And I don't know if it's still going, but it was aimed at anybody who was 0 to 3 months or something like that, whatever it was. So I can't remember now.
0 to about 2.5 years. My kids had, but my son particularly is a Lego absolute massive fan and had Duplo. Yeah. But
I'm surprised I've forgotten, but it was in the 90s. So basically, but it, so there are markets out there that spend a lot of money, and particularly the baby market. You probably know this better than I, but the baby market itself will be worth a heck of a lot of money. And it just strikes me that you're not talking about a solution for everybody. You're talking about a solution that potentially for maybe 5% of your potential audience that will buy something far more expensive. You know that anyway from product sales.
Well, we have exclusive things. So we have an exclusive fabric that our lovely friends at Babycar in Portugal make for us, and it's a special Dior-esque fabric. This year we have one every year, and this year they only have enough fabric to make 9 prams. So there's only 9 of these in existence in the whole world, and you can only buy them from BabyLady. And that's obviously a plus. And our YouTube channel is optimized, so we do get revenue from that, from people watching, which we really, really appreciate. If any of your listeners are watching our YouTube channel, thank you so much, and please do subscribe, because that really helps us too. We just hit 4,000 subscribers, which is not massive, but we think that's pretty good. We're really pleased with that. So yeah, we'll keep pushing things. We're members of a select buying group, so we have other exclusives that are only available to we have 23 members, and we produce because the things that are coming out of China have to be produced in large quantities. We buy those between us, so we do things like that. And I'm always looking for other things, opportunities, ideas. So yeah, we'll keep looking, and if you have any more, you can just send them across to me.
So you've got another 23 years of work before you even consider giving up. So basically it's it's another career, isn't it?
We'll see. Yeah, I mean, who knows? You don't know what's around the corner, so you have to live your life each day. Somebody said to me, live your life each day as if it's your last, because one day it will be the last one.
Yeah. Well, hopefully it's not before Sunday, because we're playing at home against Cardiff City. So and it is my birthday on Sunday. So basically,
happy birthday for Sunday!
Yeah, I know.
It's going to be a great birthday, isn't it? When Leeds lose in the Championship.
Hey, now. But no, it's going to be a lovely day. Even I think Lennon and McCartney wrote a song about my birthday. If you know what I mean. So I won't say what it is, but I'm sure people can work that one out. But when I'm
okay,
right, okay, isn't it funny that? But if you're about 30-year-old, you're thinking, what's he on about? But anyway,
it's just a number, though, isn't it? Don't you think? Yeah. When you're younger,
it's definitely just a number.
Big, but as you get older, it's just a number, and as long as you feel well, and you can do everything you want to do, and I think it's really important, let's say, to keep active mentally and physically. As long as you can do what you want to do, it's just a number.
Yeah, Do you know, you have been a breath of fresh air.
Oh,
I mean, the choking fit that you had earlier on, I did think we were going to see our first casualty on the podcast,
I am.
which would have been quite fun, really.
I'm
I
really
suppose.
sorry.
But don't worry about it. No, it was induced by me. So I was kind of guilty because you were choking on something. But and Kevin was just like watching as an AI would. I mean, Kevin was just like watching.
Exactly. One day I turned up in
Like
person.
Sheldon Cooper. I mean, he's basically. No, all I would say is that you've been an absolutely wonderful guest on the next 100 Days podcast.
Masterclass there in customer service.
I agree. When you listen to the detail of what Debbie does at BabyLady, you realize that 32 years hasn't been misspent.
And this is how does small business and retail bricks and mortar business survive with big box it up, sell it cheap organizations like Amazon. You've got exactly the case there. Yeah, you might pay a little bit more going to see Debbie. Chances are you might get a better product that's more suitable for what you want. And if it's not right, or you need help with it, you're going to get that help and assistance in spades.
Not going to get that from Amazon. You just don't, because you're not really dealing with Amazon, are you? They're just a portal to somebody else who's made it. But try and get in touch with some of these organizations and good luck. So I think for me, if you're looking for products for your baby, then, even if you have to pay 5 pence more, who cares? At the end of the day, it's your baby. I mean, you're not going to stint on that. So, go to the person that cares more about your baby. And that happens to be Debbie Homer Davis of BabyLady. And it's been an absolute pleasure having her on. I mean, we did almost lose her halfway through the podcast. I'm really glad that we didn't, though.
Absolutely. She's been a treasure today. I think lots and lots to learn from. Well,
again, another great podcast, Kevin. Really enjoyed Debbie's company. I've been Graham Arrowsmith.
I've been Kevin Appleby. Goodbye.
Goodbye.